might have shed a tear. Like, it was bad.
Dobbo, watch that episode.
Fuck. And I owe you a dope as well.
Later.
Wait. Disaster class. Welcome back to Surface Unscripted. Frosty and myself both wearing black to mourn the end of the Stormers Super Rugby season. Not Super Rugby, URC season. Frosty, we'll get into the game soon. It's been a tough weekend for us, and I owe you a dope as well. And I've had to see cocky Bulls fans in my comment section. It annoys me, but we're back. How are you feeling after this weekend?
Yeah, I'm heartbroken. Even though I called Glasgow to win, and I know we'll get into that just now, I'm a bit heartbroken. The Stormers aren't the team that they used to be a couple years ago. But yeah, we'll talk about that. It's been cold. I'm still cold. I wish the Stormers could just pull through the win to warm up my heart, but it was a devastating Friday night for me. But you know, the rest of the weekend's games pulled through in terms of my predictions, so I was happy about that. And at least we've got two South African teams to look forward to.
We're sitting on opposite day of Lana Del Rey, where it's wintertime sadness now, right? As you said, no warm feeling, no warm and fuzzy feeling, no one there to keep us cuddling. I mean, I was laying in my bed in the fetal position, cuddling a pillow. I might have shed a tear. Like, it was bad. It was really bad. But people, we are back. Surface Unscripted. If you do like just fans coming together and talking about shit when it comes to rugby, that's basically all we do. So please do remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Go to our social medias as well. Go show us some support on our short form content. We do appreciate each and every one of you guys. But for us, you mentioned it. Two teams from South Africa went through. But obviously the massive talking point, the Stormers were the all-timer stinkfest out there, right? It was not a great watch. It was a terrible watch, to be honest. And I wouldn't say we were confident. Well, you obviously predicted Glasgow to get the victory. But I wouldn't say I was confident, but I had trust in the boys to pull through. And I don't mind losing to Glasgow. I mean, they're defending champions. You know them at home. They some sort of different beast. But I had faith in the boys to at least put up a performance. And what we saw was literally two guys actually playing rugby, maybe three if you want to add Mani Lebock into that. But Paul de Villiers was great. Siabilis Natla, probably the game of his life. He was absolutely insane. And the rest of the South Africans that played well were all in the Glasgow team. So what was your thoughts on that Friday night disaster class?
What's interesting is in the previous pod we spoke and you mentioned something casual of how we tackle this game. You mentioned we got to be super physical. We've got to pick up on the scraps. We've got to squeeze the life out of them, basically. And it's almost like Dobbo watched that episode and did the fucking opposite. They were He watched. I'm telling you, he watched the episode. No, all jokes aside, no, it was a abysmal performance. I was actually in the waterfront watching the game, and halfway through, I already knew this is going to be a tough one. It's not looking good. My prediction was obviously correct, but you know, you don't like to see your team go down the way they went down. No intent. We want intent. There was no intent besides, you know, Siabilis Sanatla, Paul de Villiers, those type of guys. But it was just abysmal.
Well, Frosty, right? Like, obviously, people will see us. We're just fans. We're not rugby experts or anything like that, right? But we said where we will get the upper hand, and that's physically. What's the only positive that we take from that game? Is our scrum. The epitome of physicality, right? Literally everything in terms of it was a rinse and repeat performance. How many times did they look like they had a 50-man overlap every single time they touched the ball? We slipped off tackles like it was our job to slip off tackles. Like, it was great. Obviously, you have like this little thing that we call injuries that happened in the game. I'm not going to blame injuries. I mean, at a point we had to sit with Herschel Yankees on the wing, lost Dan Dupe really early into the game. Stuff like that, right? Like, obviously, that didn't help our case. Like, 6-2 bit us in the arse. That's the risk that you run. But still, just the performance overall. Every time that Glasgow touched the ball, they went and scored. And I know there's a lot of discussion around Dobbo with his job and stuff, and I will give Dobbo his leeway because like he's been a good coach for us. Obviously, he won the URC with us, but I do give some of the blame for him in terms of the structure, especially defensively. The fact that the same thing kept happening over and over again, but it's not Dobbo's fault that we knock balls in vital areas. Dobbo's system still got us 5 meters away every time we got the ball. It's not his fault that we knocked the ball there or concede a stupid penalty or give away a line out. Because, I mean, I said it before, like Glasgow probably cheered every single time we got a line out because they knew they're getting the ball back. And this has been a story the entire season. Like, it was just bad. And I don't want to take away from Glasgow because Glasgow was absolutely sensational. The way that they defended and smothered us. I'm not going to be harsh on Sasha because he's been great this season, but it just looked like he didn't know what to do with the ball because of how good that rush defense was of Glasgow. They were just phenomenal. Glasgow truly outplayed us in every asset of the game.
Yeah, they're a classy outfit. So, yeah, we know they're a classy team. We said it before the game was even played. And we're going to talk about this in the week to come when they face Leinster, because I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park. I think this Glasgow team has what it takes when it comes to these knockout games. We've seen it last year. They ended up winning the tournament, and now we've seen it against a Stormer side. Yes, they had everything going their way in terms of where they played at home, conditions, etc., injuries that the Stormers picked up during the game. But they're quality side. And we said previously in the previous episode that we're not going to fix our defense overnight. I said to you guys, we're going to have to outscore them. That is the only way that this is going to work, because we can't fix the defense. The defense has been shocking all year, to be fair. So we had to outscore them. We didn't manage to. They were more clinical, and they came away with a win.
Yeah, it just basically felt like what it boils down to. It just felt like there was a bit of a lack of intensity, lack of hunger. I mean, there was a couple of kicks that you could say were pointless kicks, but even a pointless kick, you should still chase it. 0 chases. I can't remember us chasing any of our kicks, right? Like a good example, Sasha gets the ball, slots a drop goal, nearly a worldie of a drop goal, hits the post. There's no one in the back for them. There's maybe 1 or 2 guys, but they have to scramble to get the ball. Not a single chaser on a drop. Like, what is going on there? That is crazy.
Yeah, it was weird to watch. It just felt like there was no structure at all to our game. The boys didn't turn up at all. They just seemed 2 paces behind that Glasgow team, and obviously we saw that on defense as well. The way that they could just spread the ball into the wide channels and scored like that easily. It was like I was watching a high school game.
Soft tries over and over again.
Try. So yeah, I mean, I think that's enough said about the Stormer side. It hurts me to say that.
Question.
Go for it.
Because I've seen it in the comments. I said that I still back Dobbo to be the coach. I've seen other people saying maybe you should go into like a bit more of a backroom staff role. Do you still back Dobbo as the coach of the Stormers? Obviously, we're not calling for someone to be sacked or at all, but do you reckon the Stormers should maybe try and look elsewhere? Do you think some of the guys are maybe a bit too comfortable if you take the season as a whole? And to be fair, last season wasn't great either, right? Like we just scraped past to get into the quarterfinals. So do you still back Dobbo, or do you reckon we should look somewhere else and maybe just move him into a bit more of a managerial role, if you understand what I mean?
Yeah, look, I wouldn't put the entire responsibility on him. I know you're not doing that either, but I think there's a lot of people out there that might be doing that. From what I've heard, he's got quite a good relationship with all the boys that play at the Stormers. Like, he seems like that sort of coach as well from the outside. So
is that a good thing?
Maybe. Sorry, it went dark there.
Yeah,
I didn't hear what you
I just
said.
asked, is that a good thing though?
I mean, I think it's a good thing when you've got players that the Stormers have, these flashy players that want to express themselves. I think Dobbo is a coach that allows these players to express themselves. So having that, sort of intimate relationship with each of the players and knowing them well and their families. I think that's what Dobbo has, and it's good for the game. Rassi's similar. But maybe moving him into a different position and allowing someone new to come in, someone fresh, change up the way we play a little bit, because rugby is evolving. So maybe the way that the Stormers are known to play isn't working for us anymore. Or maybe we've just been, unlucky this season. Many injuries, some retirements. We've maybe just been unlucky, and it's slowed down our momentum.
Yeah, of course, there's a lot of caveats to it. I just thought it's an interesting discussion because I feel like the fan base kind of there's a 50-50 split in regards to whether we want to see this continue or not. Like I truly love the Stormers and I love Dobbo and I love the vibe at the Stormers. But sometimes it just feels like there needs to be a bit more of a balance where it's like I'm your friend and your coach, or like this is the expectation, right? Like, is he harsh enough? Obviously, we don't know the background, the background of it all, right? Like, we don't know how serious he is when it comes to the background, where it's like, fix your shit. Like, this is not acceptable. Those type of things. And the thing is, we as fans, obviously, we carry that passion. We support the team where we live. We want our team to be sensational, and that's just the reason that we're keeping the standards on the team, because we know what they're capable of. We know the Stormers, when they're at it, they can beat anyone in the world, but we don't want them to carry that piece of, let's say, ego, where it's like we can beat everyone in the world. We want that hunger out of the team, and that's what we saw about this with the Springboks, where we never really embraced kind of that number one spot in the world, because we know we fight better when we're underdogs, when the tide's against us. So that's kind of just the expectation with the Stormers as well. If we know we can beat a team, go out there, beat the team, show the hunger, those type of things. But anyway, obviously, congratulations to Glasgow. Sensational performance, right? From start to finish, outclassed us, and full-on deserved victors. And it's going to be an interesting battle going up against Leinster, which we'll talk about in the coming week. Next up, we had the Bulls and Edinburgh. Bulls off to a slow start. I wouldn't say it was the Bulls starting slow necessarily, just Edinburgh coming out flying, right? And really, really clinical. And Edinburgh could have felt that this was one that kind of got away from them, because they were 21 points to 8 in the lead. And then the Bulls, I'll give you the floor. When they're on it, they look unstoppable. Like, seriously good.
Yeah, they didn't start the best. I wonder what the team talk was like at halftime with Jake White, because they were a completely different team coming into that second half. Philly LaRue, this guy's just getting better with age.
Bro,
and
it's
I
like
know
wine.
he's got a lot of critics. He's got too many critics, because he
Don't
has
understand
done
it.
so much. He's done so much good for South African rugby in general, whether it's for the Boks, the Bulls, whoever else he's played for. He's a quality player, and the fact that he can still do what he's doing at that age, he deserves those 100 caps for the Boks. So must start him. I was really impressed with his game. Emrys Papil,
back to the Griquas and Cheetahs days.
Yeah, he was just playing with so much open freedom. It was unbelievable to watch. And then you've got the opposite side of that, and you look at a player like Emrys Papil, which we have praised, especially in these past episodes, having not such a good performance. I don't know what it was. I don't know if maybe in that first half he wasn't getting the clean ball, but he just seemed like 2 steps behind everyone else, making silly errors, getting charged down. Knocking on balls. It wasn't the Emrys Papil we know. And I know you're a big Emrys Papil fan, so let me know what you think about how he performed.
I actually agree with you, because we spoke on WhatsApp about it while the game was going on. But at least in the second half, he woke up again. And then we saw the actual quality of Emrys Papil. You saw the tide switching, let's say, from minute 40 till 65. Right, then you saw the actual quality of the Bulls, just pressuring Edinburgh in every asset of the game, like scrum time, mauls, physically, attacking wise. Keegan Johannes had a sensational game in that 10 jersey. I mean, he's got an exciting future. I mean, and him partnering with Andre Pollard, that's going to be a scary thing. You add Jan Serfontein, the experience of him at inside center as well, right? Like, obviously they have David Krill there, And David Kriel and Stepman Gans has done a brilliant job at 12 and 13. But I back Ambrose. I think it was a shaky first half performance, just as we saw with the Stormers guys having a very shaky 80-minute performance. Like, everyone has those on and off days, but they kept him on, and he started showing his class once again. The one thing that I do have a bit of a fear when it comes to the Bulls, and we saw it last season and cost them in the final, right? They have this tendency of playing the most beautiful rugby. They look unstoppable for 65 minutes, 60 to 65 minutes, and then just switch off at the end and concede like 2 tries. We saw it in the final how it cost them. They conceded a couple of points at the end here again. Like, this could have easily been like a 22-point victory for them if they didn't have a patch where they switched off again. But overall, as a Bulls fan, you'll probably take it, and you have the special moment of the Cornel Hendricks as a tribute of his memories on the back of the jersey. You saw the number 14 jersey also being retired for the rest of the season. That's why Caden Moody played in the number 24 jersey. So there's a lot of positives to take from the Bulls. It's just about tweaking the little negatives in that game that cost them last season.
Yeah, look, first of all, just to start off with that tribute, at first when Kenan Moody ran out with that jersey, I was a bit confused. I knew it had something to do with Cornel Hendricks, but I just didn't know why it was 24. And obviously, listening to the commentators, they were mentioning, it's just been retired for the rest of the season. He's wearing 24. I saw the pictures on the back, felt that was really special. I definitely feel like they used that as an emotional drive in a positive way for that game. And it showed in that second half performance. In terms of the drop in performance, that could be because of the players that they have. They got really big, like, front rowers and like a forward pack. So are they slowing down because of that? Are they not getting that front football because of that? Or is it just like a mindset thing of, oh, we've got this game in the bag, should we just like take the foot off the gas? It's an interesting one, and I know that they can't be doing that towards the later stages of this semi-finals, finals. They can't be doing that.
I fully agree. You can't be dropping off like that. I do believe, I don't think these guys' fitness levels will drop off that much. I think it's more of a mindset thing where they might be thinking game's done and dusted, and then they just drop off a bit. But I don't think it's that big of a thing that you can't fix, right? We saw it last season. I think all that they need is a reminder of what happened last season, and then they'll be fine. Question: do you reckon that Sebastian Leclerc should have been sent off with the yellow?
Yes.
You do?
Yes, I do. Still in a straight up position, taking the line of the kicker. You've made contact to the head. I've seen things much less get carded as well. For me, that was a yellow card, correct decision. If anything more, I would have been upset, but a yellow card for me. He's gone for we've seen this time and time again when players will go for the charge down, whether they do a jump or like they stay static. You still have to prioritize the guy that has kicked the ball. Whether it's him, I know there's split seconds in this, but you can see that he's a little bit delayed with his movements in terms of trying to get that shoulder out the way. I wouldn't be surprised if he couldn't have done more there.
Well, in my opinion, right, like, I'm not fully against the yellow card of it. I was just a bit confused, right? Because in my head, I'm thinking he's about a meter away. He knows, okay, he's gone for the charge down, but he hasn't jumped with momentum. Like, he's still standing and jumping up. Darcy makes a bit of a meal of it, right? Like, that's the thing that's grown into this game. I hate it, but I mean, fine. He's in there. He doesn't. Okay, I know it's by the letter of the law, makes head contact, but where do you draw the line where they said we're not going to penalize normal rugby collisions? We know there was no intent. There was no massive force to it or anything like that. Yeah, it's shoulder to the head or whatever, but it wasn't. He was not killing the guy or anything like that.
Yeah, I by no means feel like that was malicious or intentional to try and get one up or force an injury or concussion or get the player off the field. I'm just going by how the standards are already set now, and if things are going to be carded that are much less of an offence than what that was, then I feel like that should be deemed a card. Even though I didn't want it to be deemed a card, I was back in the Bulls. Nonetheless, rugby's just become super soft in these like 50-50 collisions that referees are put in this like situation where you're playing in a quarter final, everything's on the line. They got to make a decision. Was it head contact? Yes, it was. Send the guy off. That's what they're thinking. So it's tough for them, and I think it's tough as supporters to be able to just acknowledge that as being malicious when it's not.
Or
Like,
can't you see it as Darcy Graham playing the play in there?
yeah,
What's
the thing
different?
is, he's made
I'm
he's
kidding, by
made the
the way.
kick,
That's
even though
a
it
stretch.
wasn't
I'm
a.
just kidding. I'm
No,
just
no,
kidding.
I know exactly what you mean. Like, there's different ways that you can, you know, and interpret these sort of collisions. I've thought of it many times, especially with like the head-on-head or like high collisions when tackles are being made outside of like kicking now. And I think to myself, well, okay, but this guy's dropped his body height. Mitigation is playing what in this role? It's total bullshit. It should just be a rugby collision, and we should just go on with the game. But
Yeah, but
player
we've
safety.
got the most physical sport in the world after obviously like MMA and boxing and stuff. I'm just thinking like it's a bit soft. It's basically what it boils down to. I know by the letter of the law, I'm not going to disagree with the letter of the law. It's the yellow. I'm fine with it. I'm not going to kick up a massive fuss about it. I just wanted to know, do you believe it should have been a yellow if you take the letter of the law away? But that's hypothetical, so it doesn't really
Yeah,
matter.
no, I don't. Then no, I don't. Rugby collision, play on.
Yeah, fair enough. I also saw it as a rugby collision, but I know there's a lot of people that's probably going to disagree with it. But anyway, Bulls getting the job done. They'll take it. Edinburgh losing 12 players now after, well, the season is done for them as well. I feel like it was a decent send-off. They gave themselves a decent chance to get over the line there. Probably maybe kicking themselves a little bit that they didn't get over the line because the opportunity was there. You had the decent lead. It is what it is. But let's actually move over to the massive game of the weekend. You had the Sharks in Durban taking on Munster. 24-24. Goes to extra time. Nothing happens in extra time. And we go to a shootout. What was it even called?
I think it's called a penalty shootout.
Well, there has to be better names for it. Because it doesn't feel like a penalty shootout.
Yeah, I've been seeing a few creators that have come up with some interesting names, which would be I would say better, like kick off or final kick or a bunch of these names. But I would just scrap the kick off or kick out or penalty shootout completely. I just think it is an absolute waste of time.
It's a bit of a farce. The best name that I saw for it was obviously when you kick it, you call it a nudge. So it's a nudge judger. That's a beautiful one.
I like that one. That one's quite
Yeah.
funny because I mean, for me, it's ridiculous. Like the fact that guys have just played 100 minutes of rugby, they've gone neck and neck, physicality, skill, attacking, defense, kicks, all to just go stand on the sidelines and let three kickers now kick it out.
Yeah.
I think it should be called that. Or was it the nudger? What?
Bro, I mentioned this on Casual Bias Rugby, and I was like, obviously you want to decide it on that day. You can decide it on that day, by the way, with the way that I see it. I was just like, you've given them a chance to play extra time and everything. When it boils down to that, because you can't put it in the same bracket as a penalty shootout in football or soccer, whatever you want to call it. Because you have on the one side, that is a lot of psychology that goes into that. Keepers have the opportunity to save it, those type of things. Where this one is just a place kicking contest, right? So there's no effect that the other team can have on it. So I'm just like, well, if it isn't settled after extra time, the team that placed higher in the league, they're the ones that qualify. Because then you just take the league into consideration. It's like, okay, well, the one team struggled the whole time. It's extra time. They've got the opportunity to get that upset victory. They haven't taken the opportunity to get that upset victory. Obviously, Munster pulled out a great performance and a good fight, but you couldn't get it done. So we are going to give it to the team that actually placed higher because they've done better in the league. So I'm just thinking you just settle it like that. That's quick. It's easy. You know exactly what's expected. Now you've got Peter O'Mahony and Conor Murray, where they played their final game for Munster. Daddy, how did you fall out of? What was your final game in your pride and joy Munster team? Oh, we lost in the quarterfinals through a kick out. That's so stupid.
It happened twice to them,
bro. That is so stupid.
It's ridiculous. And I will go for a different option, and you might disagree with this, but I got a bit creative with it in my head of what I think they should do. We've got different forms of rugby. What I would do is, after a full 100 minutes of rugby, instead of doing a whole kicking show and have the whole team watch you whilst you kick, I would say, okay, boys, we've had 100 minutes of play. You're going to choose 7 of your best players, and I'm going to choose 7 of the best of mine, and we're going to make a 7s team right now, and we're going to say first.
Bro, that's if I die mentality. Those guys would literally drop dead right there.
How entertaining would that be?
Obviously, as a viewing spectacle, it would be great. Same with the.
How is that more ridiculous than getting a guy that was sitting on the bench? I forget his name now.
Bradley Davids. Getting him off the bench with like 30 seconds to go, and now he can just go and kick the winner. What is he, Nas Buerta for the NFL? How does that work? I know. That's the debate where I'm just like, the easiest thing would have just been to say the team that's performed better in the league, you go through, right? Like, obviously, as a viewing spectacle and the nerves and those type of things, it's good for viewing, but it's not good ethically, in my opinion. But obviously, there's another talking point with this whole thing. We had a little showmanship. Well, I call it showmanship. Others might call it bad sportsmanship. From Jaden Hendrickse. What was your thoughts on that? Are you for showmanship, or are you saying bad sportsmanship?
Look, I'm for showmanship, but that didn't sit right with me. And there's a few reasons why. I'm personally one that would say I think he did have cramp. I've seen like photos of his like calf like cramped up. Whether he was like drinking it himself, I don't know.
Yeah, he could have dropped down on the field anyway. Decided to sit right.
I've seen players get cramped. They're able to hop away and move out the way for a kicker.
But that's where the showmanship came in.
Yeah. So then the showmanship came in and he winked and stuff, and I saw that live and I was like, no ways. That's like it just doesn't sit right with me. The fact that it was almost, I know this is Safa's unscripted, but that was almost like it was Sharks scripted. It's almost like they spoke about it prior to him making the kick. He kicked it, and then all of a sudden you had a bunch of medics run on the field.
It was 100% scripted. 1,000% of that was scripted. Now, I get it, right? Is it the best look? Probably not. But where I actually like it, we hated what Nick White did, right? With his little showmanship with Faf de Klerk that just touched his face and he went down. I put that in a different bracket. Now, obviously, you can call me biased for it. That's fine. But because that directly influenced the game in terms of Faf being sent off. If that led to Crawley all of a sudden being sent off and those type of things, bad sportsmanship, right? Because then you're just faking the game. But a bit of showmanship, these nines, they are born with this little twat syndrome where they get in your head, they do anything to make you angry, make you miss that kick. It's not like he sat there and booed Crowley. Like, Crowley still had all the time in the world to go there and take his kick, but he just had that little voice in his head now. He saw the little wink. He knew it's a bit of, I almost just called it bad sportsmanship. You can call it bad sportsmanship. That's fine. But it's just something that sticks in his head. It's a mental thing. You see the same with, I think it was Aaron Smith with the viral clip where the nine's about to throw in the ball and he loosens his shoelaces, right? Like it's just a bit of showmanship just to get into the guy's head, just to annoy him a bit. We all love Joe Marler as a character. He did the exact same thing over and over again, yet he's loved for it. But I'm thinking because it's Jaden Hendricks, all of a sudden people want to have a problem with it. Like in my opinion, he laid there, he got into his head a bit. You saw he got into his head. Crowley made the kick anyway, right? And then Crowley attacked the medics. So
yeah, he got under his skin for sure. He definitely got under his skin.
So
I think
ethically, it's probably not right. But was it fun to watch? Did it give me a laugh? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. I don't mind the showmanship. I don't know if you saw, but in Jaden Hendricks's first kick, after he made the kick, he was chirping Crowley, and they were actually doing like what you see in penalty kicks in football, when you walk back with the ball after you've just scored your penalty kick and you give it to the opposition player, and you chirp him a bit just to put a bit of pressure. I don't mind that. I think they should have that. Before each kick, if we're going to do the shootout, let Eben say a few words to Crowley before he kicks. You know what I mean? He's going to make him script. But I didn't feel right him lying on the floor in agony and then all of a sudden doing a wig like that. Just felt petty to me.
I get you. No, it's fair enough. As I said, I would be furious if I was a Munster fan. Absolutely furious, right? I'm not even a Sharks fan. But as a neutral, I just watch it. I laugh. It's what nines do. You see it all the time. That was just a bit more blatant than the other times. As I said, if Hendricks had to fake that someone dived in on his knee and then he had to do a wink and that guy got sent off for whatever reason, then it would be different because it's directly influencing the game. It's not a mental thing that they can just get over or whatever. All of a sudden, they have to play with a disadvantage. Then it's different. This one, I mean, it's a wink. Seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway, but overall, brilliant game, feisty. We spoke about Ethan Hooker before. Once again, another man of the match performance. This guy is unbelievable. Seriously unbelievable.
Future Bok, for sure.
I want to see him in a Bok jersey this year.
I think he will get that chance. It'd be interesting to see in what position. I think Rusty will probably.
What about a little Barbarians game for him?
Maybe they'll put him in there. You're trying to look at the center combinations. Both of our centers play out of the country. Well, the starting centers.
I might go with Andre Estreisen, seeing that his previous Bok game he got sent off with a red. But I wouldn't mind seeing Kainan Moody and Ethan Hooker as the two wingers.
Yeah, great. I'm all for that. He had an exceptional game. I can't fault him. I felt the the Sharks, they were behind. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was 21-10 at a stage, and they clawed their way back into the game.
Yeah, they scored 2 tries, and then Munster scored a penalty.
Even though that game ended up so weirdly, the way it finished, we've said it before. The Sharks team just have weird games. Like,
yeah,
it's so hard to call it. Like this next game against the Bulls, I don't even know how to call this game. The Sharks team is so unpredictable. They have moments of brilliance in the game, and then moments of like pure and utter like
brain farts.
Shittery, brain farts. Yeah. So it was one of the weirdest games of rugby I've ever watched, with all the antics and how long it went on for.
Do you reckon Eben Etzebeth will have an eye that he can see through in the next game? Bro, that guy looked like he just came out of a boxing fight.
Yeah, like he's done a couple of rounds of Trickers du Plessis. Look, it was pretty swollen right after and during the game. During the game, you could already see it swollen. So hopefully it's not like a cheek fracture, like a bone fracture. I think it was just a shiner and it swelled up. And yeah, you're probably still going to see it this weekend.
Well, fair play to the Sharks, fair play to Munster. It was a good fight. Was it the most extraordinary game? No, but you just like these nitty-gritty games where there's a bit of argy-bargy. People are getting under each other's skin. That's my favorite games. I love it when the emotion boils a bit over. You can see what it means to those teams to actually get the victory here. And then the final game that we can chat about is Leinster Scarlets. Leinster didn't really put up their best performance. Do you say that Leinster were average, or do you just say that Scarlets really pitched up? Because I actually think Scarlets can hold their heads high with this one. They pulled out a performance. They can go and proud. Obviously, that's the end of their season, but they've had a good run this season. It's the best Scarlets that I've seen in the past 4 years of us being in this tournament. So Leinster, they'll just take a job done, go on to Glasgow, but they'll know they can't perform like that against Glasgow. That's basically what it boils down to for me.
Yeah, I think if you're a Scarlet supporter, you can be super happy with that. I mean, obviously you'd want to go through, but playing a Leinster team that's so stacked full of Irish players,
At the
as a
Aviva.
Scarlet at the Aviva, as a Scarlet supporter, you gotta be happy with the boys. I mean, they played really well. I felt Leinster at times were dominant. There was a time in the game where I thought, okay, now they're going to run away with it. Scarlets just clawed their way back in, made it a bit tighter. So I was impressed with Scarlets, and Leinster are going to have to sharpen up a little bit more if they're going to face a well-drilled Glasgow.
Yeah, there's not really too much to say about this game. I've seen a lot of the Irish supporters saying that Leinster has to be better, and we all know that they have to be better, and they will be better than they were in this game. Obviously, there was a bit of rotation in this game, but they'll take the victory. Job done. Moving on to the next. They know that all that they need to do is pull out 2 massive performances. If they beat Glasgow, they've got a final at home, and then they are probably sure victors. I just don't see how anyone goes to the Aviva and gets it done there, unless they choke.
Yeah, and it's not like we haven't seen that before. Now, have we, Casual?
Yeah, no, it's fair enough. Anyway, people, that wraps it up. Thank you for watching. As always, please do remember to hit that like and subscribe button. Go to our personal social medias. Go give it a follow there. Excuse me. Go give it a follow there as well. We do appreciate you guys for coming in every week, and we'll see you again on Friday. Have a good one. Bye.